Imagine having a kind of power that wins people over without force, without argument, simply through the way you speak and the way you carry yourself. Imagine if people naturally wanted to help you, embraced your ideas, and felt genuinely excited to work with you. That is the real power of influence. And if you learn how to use it well, you will stay 2 steps ahead at every turn in life. Whether you run a business, work a job, are building a startup, or simply want stronger relationships in your personal life, the art of persuasion is a master skill, one of the most important skills in life. People often hear the word persuasion and assume it means forcing someone to agree or cleverly manipulating them into doing something. But Bob Burg teaches something very different. Real influence never comes from deception or trickery. It comes when you communicate with sincerity, with heart, and with genuine regard for the well-being of others. This is not about defeating people. It is about bringing them with you, understanding them, and creating an environment where everyone can win. In a world where everyone is busy talking but very few are truly listening, the person who listens deeply, understands fully, and then changes minds through thoughtful words becomes incredibly valuable. Bob Burg reminds us that influence is not an inborn trait. It is a skill that can be learned. Pause, point 5. And today, it matters more than ever. In the modern world, the people who move ahead are the ones who know how to connect with others the right way. This book does more than change the way you speak. It changes the way you think and the way you understand people. It teaches you that every conversation is an opportunity to build trust, strengthen a relationship, and create positive change. And the best part is that none of it requires manipulation, only truth, empathy, and wisdom. So, if you want to create real change in your life, if you want to influence others without pressure and without falsehood, then you are in the right place. In this book, we will explore Bob Burg's principles in simple language through motivating examples so you do not just read this art, you live it. Because once you learn how to influence, you do not just change conversations, you change lives. The first principle of influence is simple but powerful. Pause, point 4. No matter how educated you are, no matter how many degrees you hold, no matter how high a position you have reached, if people do not like you, they will not want to work with you. And if they do not trust you, they will not pay attention to your words, no matter how correct those words may be. Bob Burg's first and most essential rule is this. Pause, point 4. People do business, build relationships, and place trust only with those they know, like, and trust. Measured. It sounds simple, but it carries extraordinary depth. Pause, point 5. Hidden inside it is a truth that can transform your entire life. We often assume that to become influential, we need to say grand things or display our power, status, or knowledge. But the truth is the opposite. Simplicity, humility, and genuine care for others make you far more influential than rank, authority, or ego ever could. When someone feels that you are genuine, honest, and truly trying to understand them, a deeper connection begins to form, a kind of trust stronger than words. Pause, point 5. So the real question becomes, how do we become the kind of person others naturally trust? Shu. The answer is simple. Pause. Be genuine. Pause. Understand others. Pause. Want what is good for them. Pause. When you enter every conversation, not by asking what you can get, but by asking what you can give, you bring a completely different energy into the room. Warm conviction. Let honesty shape your behavior. Pause. Let humility shape your words. Pause. Let service live in your heart. Pause. People will begin to gravitate toward you on their own. Measured. Every day, every conversation, every opportunity is a chance to build your reserve of trust. Money can be earned and lost, but if you have earned trust, you possess a power no bank in the world can hold. Trust is your strongest currency. Measured. And it grows without interest charges. Through every good deed, every honest word, and every empathetic act. Slightly slower. Invest in it daily, in small but steady ways. Pause, point 6. One day, that trust will take you farther than talent alone ever could. Lower pitch. It will take you where only character can. So, ask yourself honestly. Pause, point 4. Do people like me? Pause. Do they trust me? Pause.
And if not, what can I begin changing today? Pause. Point 6. Because people listen only to those they respect, and only
When most people hear the word influence, they picture someone powerful imposing their will on someone else. But that mindset is exactly where the mistake begins. If you want to become truly influential, the first thing you must change is the way you think. Bob Burg says that real influence comes when you stop operating from a mindset of taking and start living from a mindset of giving. You have to move from what can I gain to what can I contribute. If you want to influence someone, do not begin by asking what you can get from them. Begin by asking what you can offer that might make their life better. That is the true persuasive mindset. There is no manipulation in it, no hidden game. It is built on sincerity, service, and understanding. Many people think influence means gaining control over others, but Bob Burg offers an entirely different perspective. Influence means service. When you help someone without selfish intent, you leave the strongest impression. When the other person senses that you genuinely want what is best for them, they do not just hear your words, they feel them. And that is when real change begins. Imagine approaching every conversation, every relationship, and every meeting with one question in mind. What can I do that would genuinely serve this person? The moment you adopt that perspective, your words begin to carry a different kind of strength. You become someone people don't just like, you become someone they remember. In this world, power is often confused with ego, but real power belongs to the person who no longer needs to prove themselves. They simply know how to give their time, their attention, and their sincere guidance. In the persuasive mindset, power means the more value I can give, the greater I can become. Ego says, I know the most. 0.3-second pause. Service says, I am willing to listen. 0.4-second pause. Ego wants people to obey. 0.3-second pause. Service wants people to grow through your help. 0.5-second pause. Real success is never just about your own victory. It's about caring for the progress of others as well. That is the mindset that lifts you, shapes your reputation, and wins you a place in people's hearts. If you see yourself only as someone who takes, your world will remain small. But if you become someone who gives, your influence will echo even without noise. Never forget this. Your mindset determines how far you can rise. If your thinking is expansive, your impact will be greater. If your perspective is rooted in service, success will begin chasing you. 0.5-second pause. Every day, you have to decide whether you want to remain part of the crowd or become the person the crowd stops for. That difference does not come from money or position. It comes from the way you think. So rise and ask yourself. 0.4-second pause. Who can I help today? 0.4-second pause. Who can I make feel better today? 0.4-second pause. For whom can I make a difference today? 0.6-second pause. Once these questions become your habit, your presence itself will become influence. You will not always need to say much. Your very presence will begin to speak for you. Today, everyone is talking, on social media, in meetings, in relationships, everywhere. But very few are truly listening. And that's where the difference lies between an ordinary person and an influential one. Bob Burg says that if you truly want to leave an impact, earn trust, and move forward in life, then you must learn to listen, not just with your ears, but with both heart and mind. Most people stay quiet in conversation only because they're preparing their next line. They're not really listening. They're simply waiting for their turn. But active listening is something entirely different. It's the ability to understand the other person with full attention and without judgment, not merely so you can respond, so that you can truly feel what they are saying. And when someone feels heard, they begin to open up to you. Deep inside, every person carries the same desire. I want someone to understand me. The moment you make someone feel that you have listened from the heart, they begin to give you a place in theirs. Whether it's a client, a customer, a friend, or a family member,
Every strong relationship begins where real listening begins. Listening does not just help you give better answers, it helps you recognize the other person's hidden needs, fears, and desires. And that is where your influence begins. Have you noticed that the most influential people in the world don't always speak the most? They ask questions, then they stay quiet. The right questions are the ones that invite the other person to open up. What do you think? 0.5-second pause. How did that make you feel? 0.5-second pause. If you could change one thing, what would it be? 0.5-second pause. And after the question comes one of the most powerful tools of all. 0.4-second pause. Silence. Because when you stop speaking, the other person begins. And that is when you receive the answers you would never get from a surface-level conversation. There are 3 simple listening habits that help build trust. 0.4-second pause. Maintain eye contact. 0.3-second pause. Your eyes show that you are present. 0.3-second pause. Do not interrupt. 0.3-second pause. Pause and let the other person finish. 0.3-second pause. Reflect back what they said. 0.3-second pause. Say something like, "So what you're saying is," 0.5-second pause. That small act makes them feel understood. These are simple things, but they can win profound relationships. 0.4-second pause. Your true influence is not hidden in the volume of your voice. It's hidden in the depth of your silence. 0.5-second pause. When you truly listen, people don't just agree with your words, they begin to feel connected to your way of thinking. So the next time you speak with someone, quiet your mind. 0.3-second pause. Put your phone down. 0.3-second pause. Listen with your full attention. 0.5-second pause. This is one skill that can set you apart from the crowd. Ask yourself honestly. 0.4-second pause. Do I really listen, or do I simply prepare my response? 0.5-second pause. Does my silence create space for others to speak? 0.5-second pause. Am I the kind of person people feel lighter around after a conversation? Gentle conviction. If the answer is yes, then you are already creating influence without saying much. 0.4-second pause. If not, begin today. 0.3-second pause. Because the
Have you ever noticed that some people can say almost anything and others accept it immediately, while some people say all the right things and still no one listens? The difference is not always in the message. It is in the language, the tone, and the frame. It depends on whose world the conversation begins in, yours or theirs. Bob Burg teaches that if you truly want to influence someone, you cannot speak only in your own language. You have to speak in theirs. Every person lives in a world of their own, with their own desires, fears, needs, and dreams. If you speak only from your own perspective, your own interests, and your own priorities, the other person begins to build a wall. But when you speak to their needs, their thinking, and their emotional world, that wall starts to fall. That is where real influence begins. Ask yourself, am I adding something meaningful to this person's life? Does what I am saying make sense from their point of view? Does it mean something to them? If you can make someone feel that you understand their perspective, they will not just hear your words, they will begin to accept them. Some people think emotionally, some think through logic and data, some are quiet and measured, others are fast and energetic. If you speak to everyone in exactly the same way, half the room will disconnect before you even begin. Learn the art of adapting. Be direct and concise with the fast-moving person. Speak with warmth and humanity to the emotional one. Use logic and evidence with the analytical thinker. As you begin to understand another person's tone, thought pattern, and language, you move closer to their heart. And then there is framing, one of the most powerful tools of all. Whatever you are saying, if it sounds like a benefit to the other person, it immediately gains their attention. Do not say, "I want you to do this for me." Say, "If you do this, it will directly benefit you." Do not say, "My product is the best." Say, "This product will make your life easier." That is the point. Think from their perspective first,
then speak. That's when real impact happens. A leader is not the one who speaks the loudest. A leader is the one who is heard and understood the most. And people listen most closely to those who speak from within their world. Your goal should not be to make people repeat your words. Your goal should be to make them embrace your way of thinking. When you speak someone's language, you are not just exchanging words, you are building a bridge between hearts. So ask yourself, do I speak to everyone in the same style? Do I understand the other person's needs, or do I simply impose my own view? Do I frame my message from their perspective? If not, begin now, because the person who learns to speak in the language of others finds a place in every heart without force. How valuable are you in this world? The answer is not decided by your name, your product, or your price. Your real value is determined by the difference you make in the lives of others. And in two of Bob Burg's most powerful teachings, the law of value and the law of influence, he offers a completely different way of seeing success. It's not just a lesson from a book, it's a formula for life. Value is greater than price. Have you ever noticed that some people don't speak much, yet every word they say carries weight? Some companies are not the cheapest, and still people choose them. Some relationships become so precious that you can't bear to lose them. Why? Because they hold real value. Bob Burg says your true earnings are determined not only by what you sell, but by how much value you give. Everyone in the world is searching for value. Customers are, friends are, family members are, even the people who follow your work are. People do not want something merely because it's being sold. They want something that adds something meaningful to their lives. And that's where real persuasion begins, when you give people more than they expected. If someone asks for advice, offer them not only information, but also attention and experience. If someone buys a service from you, give them extra care. If someone offers you friendship, give them trust. Giving value does not mean giving everything away for free. It means that whatever you do carries sincerity, quality, and humanity. When you begin to give without selfishness, people naturally begin to connect with you. Influence grows when you put others first. Today, the world is full of I, me, and mine, but the people who leave a real mark focus on you and us. Bob Burg teaches that the more you help others, the more people will be drawn to follow you. Influence does not mean fame. It does not mean a crowd of followers. Real influence means your presence positively touches another person's thoughts, emotions, and decisions. And that becomes possible only when you put the other person first. Listening without judgment is influence. Helping without selfishness is influence. Making someone feel that they matter is influence. The more you contribute to the growth of others, the deeper your identity becomes. The moment you shift your focus from what can I gain to what can I give, you begin creating real value. And when you help others move forward, your influence rises beyond measure. Influence is not what you say. Influence is what people feel after you are done speaking, and that feeling only comes when you have given real value, not just information. So ask yourself, am I only increasing the price or am I truly increasing the value? Is my influence lifting others upward? Am I making the progress of others a genuine priority? If the answer is no, then begin a new path today, because your real worth begins the moment you...
Not everyone will agree with you. That is a fact. Sometimes a customer will question you. Sometimes a friend will disagree. Sometimes team members will clash. And in those moments, your reaction will determine whether you become influential or simply become one more person arguing. Bob Burg teaches that resistance is not something to fight. It is something to understand and redirect. Because the moment you try to defeat people, you begin to lose your influence. But when you try to understand their objections, you begin to lead. Whenever someone says no or disagrees with you, our first instinct is usually to ask how we can convince them. But Bob Burg offers a better approach. First, understand, then redirect. Every objection has a reason behind it. Sometimes it is fear.
sometimes experience, sometimes misunderstanding, and sometimes it is simply the pain of not feeling heard. When you stop trying to crush the other person's resistance and start trying to understand it, something remarkable happens. The resistance begins to soften, and trust begins to grow. So the next time someone says no, do not argue. Ask questions. Why do you feel that way? Listen carefully. Stay quiet. Then respond from their point of view. Conflict often grows because both sides see themselves as separate. But the moment you shift the conversation into the frame of "we're on the same team," tension begins to turn into alignment. Imagine a customer says, "This product is too expensive." Instead of pushing back, you might say, "Your budget matters, and my job is to help find a solution that works for you. Let us figure out the best path together." Now you're no longer confronting them, you're solving the problem with them. That is how a leader thinks. Real influence is the ability to shift from you versus me to how do we solve this together. In moments of resistance, the real test is your state of mind. People come under your influence when you do not become reactive, when you do not get trapped in argument, when you think calmly and respond thoughtfully. Calmness is not weakness, it shows self-mastery. No matter how angry the other person may be, if you speak with peace, confidence, and respect, their tone will slowly begin to change as well. The person who can control themselves is the one who can truly influence others. Too often, we turn conversations into battles. I'm right, you're wrong. But the people who are genuinely influential no longer feel the need to win every exchange. Their priority is understanding, connection, and resolution. The moment you focus less on winning and more on connecting, the other person begins to lean toward you naturally. The less force you use, the greater your impact becomes. Because influence is not created through pressure, it is created through understanding. Ask yourself, do I turn every disagreement into a contest I have to win? Do I see resistance as an opportunity or as hostility? Can I remain calm, clear, and influential even in the middle of conflict? If not, adopt a new perspective today. Because the way you handle disagreement determines whether you are merely trying to sell or whether you are truly leading. We often assume that the loudest person, the most visible person, must be the most influential. But Bob Burg offers the opposite insight. Real influence does not come from noise, it comes from subtlety. The person who is calm, thoughtful, and able to communicate through small signals often reaches people far more deeply. Some people don't speak much at all, yet their presence says everything. The way they walk, the way they smile, the way they look at you, all of it communicates without a word. That is the power of subtlety. Small gestures, those quiet micro-behaviors, can build your image or weaken it, and they often determine whether people trust you. Are you truly making eye contact? Are you putting your phone away and giving someone your full attention? Do you speak with warmth, or are you simply going through the motions? Do you talk more about yourself, or do you keep the focus on the other person? People learn less from your words than from your behavior. Your body language, your tone of voice, even your silence, all of it is speaking. There are 3 silent tools that shape influence more than most people realize. First, body language. Before your words ever reach someone, your body has already begun the conversation. Are you open, or are you closed off? Are you facing the person, or are you distracted by your phone? Are your hands open, or are they folded tightly? Every posture communicates how much openness and respect you're bringing into the interaction. Second, tone. What you say matters, but how you say it matters even more. Does your voice carry sincerity, interest, warmth, or does it sound distant and mechanical? People can tell from your tone whether you truly care. Third, timing. The right message spoken at the wrong moment often loses its power, but the same message delivered at the right time can feel as if it reached straight into someone's mind. Timing is the wisdom to sense when to speak and when simply to stay present in silence. Gentle persuasion works best when the other person feels that the decision is still their own and you simply helped illuminate the path. Bob Burg teaches this again and again. Be the guide, not the pusher. You do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to impress people at every moment. You only need to be genuine, grounded, and composed. People who understand subtlety do not get lost in the noise around them. They leave their mark quietly, deeply, and truthfully. So ask yourself, does my presence build trust, or do I simply keep talking until people grow tired? Does my silence say something meaningful too?
If not, begin embracing the power of subtlety, because you do not need to say more when what you say is true and spoken at the right moment. Many people think of persuasion as a skill used only in important meetings, sales calls, or interviews. But Bob Burg reveals a larger truth. Influence is not a one-time tactic. It is a daily habit. Just as you brush your teeth, bathe, and eat each day, you can also build trust, understand others, and influence gently through your everyday behavior. Influence does not last until it becomes part of who you are. You do not need a grand speech or a dramatic performance to earn a place in someone's heart. You need small things done consistently. When you respond on time, trust grows. When you listen fully, connection deepens. When you pay attention to small details, people feel that you truly care. None of these things are flashy, but their effect is powerful. The surest way to build trust is consistency. You become what you repeatedly do. Here are a few small but powerful daily habits that strengthen your influence over time. Begin each day by asking yourself, who can I help today? The moment you start your day with the intention to serve someone else, your mind begins to turn toward the good of others, and that is where the seed of influence is planted. In at least one conversation each day, remind yourself to listen without interrupting. That small practice will make you a deeply trustworthy presence. Each day, ask whether what you are saying makes sense from the other person's point of view. That habit will transform the quality of your communication. Create an atmosphere, and the influence will follow. Influence is not only about what you say, it is about how you make people feel. Build spaces where others feel lighter, understood, and inspired in your presence. Real persuasion begins the moment you stop treating it like a tool and start living it as part of your nature. Then you no longer need a script. You no longer need to memorize tricks. Who you are becomes your greatest strength. When influential behavior settles into your character, your presence alone begins to move people. That is Bob Burg's message. You are not born influential. You become influential by the way you live each day. Every day, in every relationship and every conversation, a small choice appears before you. Will I only express my own view, or will I create a positive difference in someone's life today? The choice is always yours, and the good news is that every day offers a new beginning. So ask yourself, am I leaving my influence to chance? Have I made connection a daily habit? Am I becoming a face of trust every day and everywhere? If the answer is no, that's all right, because now you know. Influence is not a single victory. It is a daily practice. From today onward, begin each day with one simple question. Who can I help feel better today? Then watch what happens. Your influence will not just begin changing people, it will begin changing your whole life. The art of persuasion does not merely teach us how to convince people, it teaches us to become trustworthy, respectful, and truly influential human beings. Its central message is simple. The best way to persuade others is to first see from their point of view, listen to them, and make them feel that you genuinely care. Real persuasion is never manipulation. It is the art of relationships. It is the process of building understanding.
When you give others the space to express themselves, when you make them feel valued, that's when they begin to come under your influence. So the next time you want someone to understand your point of view, begin by listening. Then understand. Then move forward in a direction that serves the good of everyone involved. If you speak with a sincere desire to help others, your influence will grow on its own.